Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. It is time to look at issue 22 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest Magazine. This is the last issue that I received in my batch of 4, because this is a weekly magazine, but I received them in batches of 4 once per month. So this is the last of the current batch, and it is issue 22, like I say, and it included on the cover no miniatures this time. This time we got some textured paint and a medium base brush. Now, that may not immediately seem like a lot of product on the front of the magazine. It may seem like this is one of those not so great products, not so great issues in terms of value. But actually, this paint, I believe it retails for £4.75. And this base brush also retails at £4.75. So that is £9.50 of product there on the cover of the magazine. The magazine itself costs £7.99, so there is a small saving there of £1.51. And then obviously you get the magazine as well. So there's a small saving, and it's nice to get another brush. And it's nice to finally get some textured paint, because if you've been following through the subscription through all of the issues of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, you will probably have noticed that they haven't given any guidance on painting the bases of the miniatures, and that's because they were waiting for some textured paint to arrive. Textured paint is not the only way to deal with bases on your miniatures, but it is a fast and effective way of dealing with the bases on your miniatures, because you slap the paint on and it dries with a rough texture to give the impression of rock, or it depends on what type of paint you get. They've got ones that crack and splinter and look like desert landscapes. This one is a rough one that looks like rock when it's dry. So yeah, I've never used any of Games Workshop's textured paint. I have always either made scenic bases, or I have used like scatter, like sand or grit, and glued that onto the base and then painted that. So it's going to be interesting, because I'm going to give the textured paint a try and see how I feel about it, because I've never ever used it. Which, I mean, it seems weird that I've been hobbying for such a long time and never tried this particular product, but there it is. I guess I'm stuck in my ways. But anyway, that's the products that came on the cover of the magazine, and here is the magazine itself with this glorious picture of these Death Guard Marines. What have we got inside? Background fluff. There's always background fluff. We get some stuff on the Codex Astartes. More about different chapters. Deviations among chapters. The Ultramarines, Salamanders, and Iron Hands. I do like the Iron Hands. And the Chronicles of Virulence. So more information on the Death Guard, and a very cool picture there. You can say that about pretty much any piece of Games Workshop art. You can pretty much say that's a cool piece of art. Worlds of the Imperium. So what have we got here? We've got mining worlds and research stations and death worlds. Death worlds. Welcome to Lost Patrol. Feral worlds. Feudal worlds. And then we go into how to paint bases. So this is using your new products that you received on the cover of this magazine. And apply carefully. Yes, I should imagine so. So you can see they've gone to great detail to show the application of the paint. It's worth noting that one of the things they've shown here is using a cocktail stick to get the paint into small areas. This is particularly with like models like this that have a cape. The cape is going right down and almost touching the base, so just being able to squeeze the paint underneath with a cocktail stick or something to make sure you get coverage without actually smacking astrogranite all over your nicely painted miniatures. And I'm not sure why, but they've actually bothered to put a picture of the astrogranite paint being put on every different type of miniature that we have previously received. I'm not sure that is absolutely necessary. That feels a little bit filler, but if you're going to be thorough, be thorough. So that's what they've done there. They've been as thorough as possible. And there's the inceptors, showing it going over the plastic, the base of the plastic stem. And then, oh, yep, sure, they're gonna show it going on all of the Death Guard miniatures as well. So Lord Faltheus and the Blightspawn and the Putrefier. I guess one of the things they're doing is like they're giving specific instructions based on the miniature. Like it says on the Blightspawn's base, be careful to avoid his nurgling and tattered cloth. But I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I think it's a little bit of overkill. It feels like it's padding out the magazine somewhat. But at least if anybody does have any questions about using this, the magazine's probably going to do a pretty good job of covering it. And then check out your armies. That doesn't look like everything that we've received so far. I think I might be missing a few bits and bobs. But already, it's looking like quite impressive collections of miniatures. And here we are, we're issue 22. So 22 issues in, you've got, by this point in the magazine, you've got quite good skirmish forces, you've got a nice bit of terrain, a nice mixture of paints and brushes. So, yeah, good. Supply drop down. Then we've got a Seize the Supplies mission, and setting up your own battlefield, and stacking and grouping terrain, and using additional terrain, and then a mission, defend the spoils of war. Secure the supplies. And there we go. So it's a pretty the fluff section is good, and there's some cool new bits on building your battlefield and things like that. I think there's probably a good chunk of filler in the painting section, but there's not really a lot you can say about applying textured paint, and they've just tried to say it in as many different ways as possible. But that is issue 22. Let's have a little spoiler, see what's coming up next. If you watched my last video, you already know that next we've got some terrain. But what is coming in issue 24? Redemptor Dreadnought. Note, it says part 1, because they're not going to give away a full Redemptor Dreadnought in a single issue, because that would just be way too generous. So they're going to split it over several issues. But that's cool. Looking forward to getting a Redemptor Dreadnought. That's some fun times ahead. We will talk more about that another time. For now, that is issue 22, and that is my latest batch of Conquest Magazine. I'm going to put up my running total here, which is a comparison of the cost of subscribing to the magazine versus the cost of purchasing all of the products from the magazine at retail, which I hope some of you will find useful. As always, please leave comments and questions and suggestions below. I do read everything and I'll do my best to respond. And thank you, as always, for joining me. I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.